It could go up a little because his head's getting up. Hi, everyone. Hi. We're talking about the camera, but you know what? It's good enough. Welcome to this week's episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live. Stop beating this dog so she'll go away. Lord have mercy. Anyways, thank you so much for watching us live on Facebook and YouTube. You can also find us on Instagram and Twitter. Don't forget to visit our website, hollywoodmatrimony.com.
Oh, I didn't do my stuff on. You're normally yapping
What are you
it up.
supposed to be doing?
Sharing my stuff. I used
Oh,
to
that's
do it
what
while
I'm
you're
gonna
yapping
do.
it up, but
Wow. Yapping it up. That's what we call this now. This is me yapping it up. Let me go to my page and share.
while people are joining us,
Yes, I'm going to share real quick.
3 people that might watch.
That's okay. I care. Okay, share. Write a post. No, I'm doing the wrong thing. Anyways, I'm hot right now.
All right. Well, today's a shorter day.
You think that?
Well, we didn't. Well, I mean, the quantity
of films.
We haven't talked about that. I threw one in at the last minute too, just because I remember something I watched that I normally probably wouldn't even brought up, but just trying to add some things to the list.
Did I watch any new documentaries this week? Because that's my thing lately.
You've been watching that big-haired lady.
Yeah, but that's not the movie.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, friends.
So, unlike what we've been doing lately, everything we're going to talk about, most of us saw by ourselves. So we only have one movie of the 4, 3, whatever we're doing, that we actually both saw together.
Correct. Which is
where
random.
would you like to start, ma'am?
Okay, so let's go to our Sabine. Oh, this dog. It's too much.
Here, I'll put my crackers away.
She's just a pain in the butt. I'm gonna try this new sour spaghetti strings.
No more, they're closed. All right.
Okay, what do you want to talk about? Here's our movies.
Whatever order you want. You tell me.
You want to just go that in order?
Sure, why not?
Okay.
What's mine? That one's first?
Yeah.
All right. So if you don't know, since CBS All Access transitioned into Paramount Plus, they made a big announcement. They made an announcement that they were doing a lot of different movies, original programming, and that kind of thing. And one of the things they announced was, I don't remember how many now, but they were going to do a series of new South Park films. Now, what they ended up doing is they're not films in a state like the bigger, longer, uncut 2-hour movie or whatever. They end up being like hour specials.
Okay.
But they can easily, I can see them releasing them because both of them, I think there's been 4. I could be wrong. But they were all like sequels of stuff, you know what I mean? So they all had a sequel. So the last one they had was called Streaming Wars, and then obviously the new one is called Streaming Wars 2.
Part 2.
The funny thing about it is, your context, when I say Streaming Wars, is about
online.
Yeah, all the movie streaming and all that stuff. So, but in typical South Park fashion, they're taking something that's in the real news, a real thing going on in the world, and they twist it into something ridiculous.
Correct.
So in this case, what started out as a war between 2 pot farms fighting for water. It was a stream war over the streaming.
I gotcha.
This has shifted because now it's going to change the trajectory of what's happened because Stan's dad had been running Integrity Farms for years, which is this type of weed. His farm is shut down. There's I forgot the name of the other farm, but his dad, I believe it's Tolkien's dad, ran that farm, and he's now on the run because he's accused of murder and all these different things. So there's a guy running a theme park that he's trying to get the whole theme park to run on pee.
Okay.
And then that solves everybody's water problem because everybody can have a pee, and it's a normal, typical South Park craziness. So this is a sequel. It runs into that nonsense and the craziness of them bringing back Man, Bear, Pig, and a lot of different characters and dealing with this stuff. So there's a lot of the clever wordplay on, you're talking about the real streaming situation, and this guy being able to be the only streamer there is, and different ways of fun. So it's actually very funny. They're all very clever. For South Park running as long as it has, I give them credit that they still pull no punches. It's actually unedited. Like but they've been also doing this on Comedy Central for quite a while now, where they actually cuss and stuff. I think they air it at a certain time so they can drop S-bombs and F-bombs and things like this. Obviously, Paramount Plus being exclusive to that, they go all in.
Yeah, they can do whatever.
So there's a whole thing with like Cartman got breast implants, so he's been running around with
I
gigantic.
see that here.
Yeah, he's been running around with jugs. So the part of the thing in this one was them solving an issue with the plant for the filtering of the water, needed saline, so they were getting all the ladies in the town and sucking all the saline out of their boobs. It was pretty funny. So anyway, if you like South Park, it's more of the same stuff. It's fun, it's entertaining. You would think it's run its course, but they've let it evolve into long-term storylines instead of just one-off things. And they keep random characters coming back in storylines and keep playing it up. So
all right,
it's a Streaming Wars 2, South Park: The Streaming Wars Part 2 is available now on Paramount Plus, and it's actually really good.
Okay. All right. Next, we're just gonna move right along. I'm gonna move my fan because I'm hot. I don't want to talk about that yet. Let's talk about this one that we watched together.
All right. I like that you think yours is gonna have a long thing to talk about.
I have so much to say.
When I haven't seen it, so it's not gonna be that much back and forth.
Okay, I like to say. Okay, next. This movie is currently available on where?
Amazon, I believe.
Okay.
Prime Video.
Yes, on the Amazon. Oh, sorry, it's not
Prime Video.
Prime Video. Prime Video.
Trust me, if you like, it's the same thing. It's not.
It's not, and we get told it's not. So we got to be very.
It's branded as Prime Video.
Prime Video.
It is Amazon's
streaming
video,
service,
but it's Prime Video.
And then I saw it like won a Tribeca Film Festival award. So that's I get it. This movie is called Don't Make Me Go. It stars John Cho and Mia Isaac.
Most people know John Cho from his turn in Harold and Kumar in Star Trek.
Correct. But now he plays...
He's an adult.
He's a father to a teenager. And at one point in the movie, I'm like, wow, can I believe that this is him? Like all grown up.
Well, you know, the last few films he's done, it's been that kind of thing. He just came off the...
more grown up.
Cowboy Bebop TV series for Netflix. He did that movie Searching, where he's the dad searching for the missing kid.
That was
really good.
Good.
So it's interesting seeing him make that turn. Both of them, Cal Penn and him, transitioning from the Harold and Kumar thing. It's like the Beavis and Bill and Ted.
Yeah, grown up.
Transitioning away.
We're growing up. We're becoming adults. So,
but I think more about. I don't think so much of like look at him like, can he play a dad? I think so much as like, how old are we now that all the people we know are playing dads?
I know, right?
And the big war fans are the grandfathers and great grandfathers.
Yeah, and it's okay. So, anyways, this is crazy. So, this one you see in the trailer, you do see that he has some issues, and so he wants to go on this road trip with his daughter just to spend as much time as he can with her. Is essentially it.
That's the plot of the movie.
But obviously
she's a typical teenager. She's irritated with everything he does. She doesn't want to go because she doesn't want to leave her friends. Doesn't want to leave her boyfriend. It's not really her boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
There's actually multiple layers here because there's the father trying to rebuild a relationship with his daughter. There's a father trying to rekindle the relationship his daughter with some other family members. There's dealing with health issues. There's typical life drama, but then you have the daughter. She's dealing with her own issues of the boyfriend.
Just trying to grow up and all that.
Just trying to have her life and discover who she is and kind of her place.
Yeah, and I think because you see in the trailer, he's sick. I think in his mind, he's like, I need to make sure she's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Like we have a short amount of time together, maybe. It's unknown. And that's part of, and I think that in itself, the sickness part of it, you know, you and I got into this big discussion of like, well, what do you do? You know,
don't tell anybody about me.
See, and that's kind of one line. But then the other side is, shouldn't you tell your loved ones so you can plan or prepare together or spend much time?
Well, I mean,
or do this or that.
I'm not saying not tell you.
Yeah, I know, but still,
I wouldn't want anybody else to know. If I was sick to the point where I knew it was the end, kind of thing, I honestly wouldn't want anybody to know, but you.
Nah, I don't know. So we got into that.
I want to be treated differently. I want, and if it got to the point where it's obvious I'm sick, then okay, we can tell it about you. And then they get a gasp because they're like, "Oh, when did you find out? Like 3 years ago?"
Yeah.
What?
So, I mean, so that whole thing in itself. So because he is a single father, I think in his mind he doesn't. You try one. They're not really sour. He wanted to, I think, prepare things for her but then not mess up her life. I don't know. It's one of those conundrums when you know you're the only person that this person can rely on. So then that brings up a whole nother set of circumstances.
I
Like,
taste like trash.
how do you prepare for something, but not tell the person you're preparing them for something? It's an interesting dynamic throughout the film
That's
dealing
like
with
eating a
that.
pipe cleaner.
What do you mean?
That's what it tastes like. Eat a pipe cleaner.
What does pipe cleaner taste like?
Horrible and unchewable.
Does this taste like sour apple? Okay.
It tastes like somebody sprinkled the sour stuff on a Twizzler that had been left out too long.
Green is apple. Blue is blueberry. I don't get that one. And the red's cherry. I totally taste the sour apple.
I'm not talking about the flavor of the candy. I'm talking about just the eating it in general. It's not okay. That's not good.
All right. Well, you don't like candies like that.
I like some of them. I don't like. I'm not big on sour stuff. I don't hate sour stuff. I'm just. Put your face in my face.
I had to clean something. I need a fuzzy.
Anyways, there. Just let me live that way.
So this movie, all in one, is the drama, little romantic, interlude.
Not between him and his daughter.
No, her and this boyfriend guy. So it's interesting because, at one point, you're father and daughter, but at one point, you're your only true friend in life. Like, that's never lied to each other, always been there.
So it's like you're a mog.
What does that mean?
You know what a mog is? It's part man, part dog.
Wow.
They're their own best friend.
Okay, that's from that dumb movie. Anyway, but there's some relationship dynamics here too that especially for girls, your father teaches young ladies, your father teaches you what it is you look for in a man. In theory,
they should be.
In theory, that you should be loved, you should be respected, how you want to be treated. In theory, this is true. Thank you. So I found that to be an interesting dynamic because at one point he's like, you should never date anyone who won't take you dancing. I mean, it's just a random thing, but it's one of the things that they've enjoyed growing up together, like just being silly and dancing around the house. And so, it's just one of those things that he tells her. And at the same time, she's dealing with this dumb boy that she thinks, oh, I like this boy, blah, blah. But then you find out he's typical teenage loser.
Well, the peer pressure, too, on what do you do to keep a relationship or keep a man or a boyfriend or a girlfriend or whatever. And, of course, it deals with the social media and the texting and send me a photo and this, that.
Don't do it.
And
you're over here like, don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah, like as an adult, do whatever you want. As a child, don't do that.
No.
As an adult, it's
dumb either way.
It's dumb either way on some level, but as an adult, you can deal with that.
No.
You know what I mean?
Some people
can't.
As
a child, though, you're dealing with other people. Like I know some people can't, but I'm saying as an adult, it's one of those things like, or you, kind of thing, and it kind of stops and starts there.
Yeah.
Where I know it can go worse depending on what it is, but with young people, it becomes the same mentality, but it starts affecting your entire social life, and it haunts you to however long you see these same people, and you don't have the maturity level to be like, whatever, it's just my boob or whatever. But it's just that whole thing of if you feel like that's the only thing they want, or if that's making you feel guilty to do it, then obviously there's a problem.
Yeah. So, anyways.
Feel free to send me a picture. I'll wait.
Or I can be like, send me the picture you sent.
Oh, yeah.
No.
You can post it online if you like. I sent her a sexy photo of me going.
It's not sexy.
Is it? You'll see it? I'll show you.
Anyways, this movie, in the end, you're like, what? And then you're like, wait, what? So it got me.
It has some twists and turns.
It does.
It doesn't necessarily
it's really heartfelt. It's emotional. It's crazy. It's fun.
It gives you hints to certain things, and it kind of stuck with me. Like, this is going to be something that affects this movie.
Mm-hmm.
But you could also easily forget that it ever happened.
Yeah.
Because it's a throwaway moment.
Which is great.
And it takes you down a path where it doesn't seem like it's doing anything other than a very straightforward thing. There's going to be some hiccups in the road, and that's going to be a potentially sad ending because of what we've been dealing with the whole time. It doesn't necessarily go in the direction you think it's going to be. but it there's that Hollywood happy ending version, and it's like, well, it's probably going to do the Hollywood happy ending because how often do we do just depressing things? And it goes the direction you think it will, but then there's this other loophole that takes you another direction. It still makes it sad, and so it's like it's a life thing.
Yeah.
And this is a movie about life. This isn't an exciting movie, but it is funny at times.
It is
sad at times. It's frustrating at times. There were times that I was so irritated with the daughter, but it's also the mentality of a child and how they would process or deal with things.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get frustrated with him, like just tell people or just tell them, explain what you're saying.
Explain why. Explain yourself.
But if you've ever been in a situation like that dealing with people, you can see you making the similar decisions sometimes.
Yeah.
So
because we're human. That's what we do.
It's just one of those things.
Anyways, it's a really good heartfelt drama, I think, and I can understand why it won something at Tribeca because it's really good.
He's really good in the movie.
He's so good.
He's really stepped up. Not that he was ever a bad actor, but he's really, I think, found himself as a serious actor. Like I could see him doing a horror film. I could see him doing comedy still. I could see him doing drama like this. He's that diverse actor that he could be anything.
Yeah.
And he's been doing it. So I'm not saying it's like this is an epiphany.
This is just great. No, it's just a really good movie.
Yeah, making that transition from the Harold Kumar thing to standard stuff and then becoming the new Sulu, who's still very serious and dealing with the science fiction action side and now dealing with that horror element of the searching thing and different things. So he's really come into his own as somebody that I like watching. And she's really good too.
She's good too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we do spend the most of the time just the two of them. So I thought it was really good. I enjoyed it. Okay.
Well, good. It's available now on Amazon. Oh, Prime Video.
Prime Video. There you go. Why are you
let's
saying
hear about
it
yours.
wrong? All right. The next little movie is the best movie ever. It's probably my number one so far. Maybe top 3 I'm going to put up there because there's a lot of good movies this year. But this is Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. And it is the movie of a little shell, as you see on your screen. And Marcel lives with his grandmother. And he and his grandmother have been separated from the rest of their family. They've gone missing. So, it so happens that a man is doing a little film on Marcel, and they're trying to find his family. That's what you need to know. Because Marcel is a little shell, it's funny because as the film evolves, we learn all of the cute little things. To me, it's so cute, but the things he does to get around in the human world, because he does live in a human house, and he rolls around on a little ball to get around, or how he climbs walls, how they get their food, where they sleep. Everything is hilarious. There are some moments that are like jokes that adults will get. There's a lot of stuff for kids. So it's really an open and accessible movie for the whole family to enjoy.
Whee.
Now, on a sub level, it is at times sad and heartbreaking because we're dealing with loss. We're dealing with relationships. We're dealing with not knowing like what happened. Like, why did this happen? And I think even just in relationships, when things work out and they're like, cool. And then when things don't work out, you're like, well, why did that happen? So that's part of it. With his grandmother, we see him having to take care of her, and something happens to her and she's not really being herself anymore. So to me, it was a little bit
Is
about
she a shell as well.
Yes, she is a shell, just a different shaped shell.
Yeah.
She's more of an upright shell where he's a
Any of
side to
these
side
people
shell.
have any of these shells have 2 eyes?
I think the grandmother
You don't have
does.
to go.
I feel like the grandmother does. But
it's fine. It's not important.
so to me, it's like elder care and Alzheimer's comes in there. We got relationships, we got family, we got, his missing family and the search for that. I feel like there's so many layers to this movie if you will allow yourself to just be open and enjoy it.
Did you already mention that it was based off of?
I did not.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
Huh?
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to, this is your thing. But if you don't know, this thing is, you look at it and be like, why would this be a movie at all? Which I can totally understand that because it looks.
Nope, his grandmother has
ridiculous.
one eye too.
But it's based off a series of YouTube videos. That
Short
were,
films.
Yeah, little short films that's just following this shell around doing different things or seeing different
Mm-hmm.
things. And so, for those of you that have not seen the show, do they need to see it to see the movie?
You do not need to see the short films, but I would recommend you do. They're on YouTube.
They're
There's
like what, 3
three.
minutes?
Yeah, there's three short films, just following around in their daily life. And it's interesting because there are a couple of like nods to the short films or things that happen in the short films that appear in the movie. So I think it's better if you have seen it because then you're like, oh, ha ha ha, or something funny happens. Oh,
Tell everybody the dog.
the dog is the best thing. What's his name?
I don't remember.
Oh shoot, I want to
I'm
say
talking about her dog.
whose
Or
dog?
his dog. The shell's dog.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Like, what's the dog's name?
I don't remember.
Oh shoot.
It doesn't matter.
Anyways, but yeah, the dog shows up, so that's funny.
Tell them what the dog is.
It's a little ball of fuzz that he tied a string to, and he's like, "Come
Like
on,
lint.
it's like a little ball of fuzzy lint." Oh my gosh, it's so funny. The dog's name. The dog's name. We're gonna find it. Anyways, Alan. It says.
Is it Alan?
Yep. It's a piece of lint that he has tied a string to, and he's like, "This is my dog, Alan." Like,
it's in the short films.
why
so
does Alan? But it shows up.
Does Alan
Anyway,
show up in the movie?
he does show up in the movie because it's. I mean, it's a great joke. But anyways, Marcel the Shell is voiced by Jenny Slate.
He was also in Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Correct, and it's her and what is the man's name?
She also used to date Chris Evans.
Yes, but I
the
think
world
she
messed
was
it up.
with this guy when she married to this man.
Oh, I don't know.
I thought so. I forgot what his name is. Dean Fleischer Camp. Anyways, and so there was a Q&A after the movie. And it's interesting because there are some adult themes. I mean, there's relationship issues, there's death issues, there's relationships and separation, and so there's all of these kind of heavy themes at times that are sad. But she was saying kids experience the same things we do. They experience loss, but if you hide it or you don't talk about it, then you're teaching them that it's not okay to talk about it. And so it's brought up in here in sometimes funny and haphazard ways of things that they're trying to understand. And Marcel himself is so cute and innocent that he's like, well, why is that funny? Or why is that this? So he's curious and asking questions. And so I think it's cool in that sense.
I find it funny that it's also produced by I don't know if it's all of them, but at least one of the Chiodo brothers, who is famous for doing the cult hit Killer Clowns from Outer Space, which I love that movie. It's horribly bad, but it's awesome.
So random.
And so finding out they produced it made me even want to see it more. I didn't get to go to the screening, but it's one of those kind of a limited release, so it's only showing at certain theaters, and it wasn't showing anywhere close enough. Like there's a couple that we go to that I could go, so I'll probably still go, but just having the time to get there was an issue.
Yeah, no, this to me is like the cutest, most impactful movie so far. At one point, Marcel puts a plea out to the internet to help him find his lost family.
He took a what out?
A plea.
Oh, they said he took a flea out.
He took a flea. Yeah, no, I mean he posts a little video to YouTube, not really understanding what was going to happen, and
so they played up the popularity of his YouTube other things as part of the story.
Part of the story of this, correct? So it all kind of comes together.
So those other videos still exist in the same continuity, even though they're not really relatable into the story.
Correct. So that's how it is, because it just so happens that the man that's currently living in his house is a documentary filmmaker, which, of course. There's way more to the story than that. But he posts a video asking for help. He's trying to find his lost family. And, of course, the internet, instead of really helping, it's like, oh, look at this cute little shell. So it becomes like a overnight sensation, and he goes viral and all these things happen. So I think you see it in the movie where random people are just like in his yard. They're like, oh, this is Marcel's house, doing that whole photo thing. And he's like, no, I was trying to find my family. And the guy's like, oh, well, you're building this group. He explains the YouTube as a community of people, and they can help you. And he's like, no, this isn't community. This is a following. He's like, I don't want that. He's like, I wanted to bring back my community, my family. And I think it's interesting because we've talked about this before, how especially younger people now don't understand the difference that the people on the internet don't really matter. How many people like you or follow you or
Everybody that's
whatever,
watching this show matters.
that matters. But they put so much into it that I have to get likes, or I have to get followers, or my friends at school need to follow me and they don't, and all this. And it's like, it doesn't even matter. And I think Marcel's so innocent that he is intuitive enough to understand that the internet is not really real. It's not going to help him in any way. So he's like, well, didn't work. So anyways, I can't tell you what happens with his family or anything else because you need to watch it. So go find this movie wherever it is near you. It is the best.
Well, I do know a few people that I know went and saw it at different places, and one person, my buddy Freddie, who works at Alamo, they have to show it in Alamo.
Oh yeah.
He went to see it. He was telling people, bring your tissues.
Oh yes. Yeah,
it's a tearjerker.
You will cry, but also there are laugh out loud moments at the same time. We should go watch it right now. I will take you.
But wasn't there a lot of people you were talking about, the reviewing people that didn't really seem to either didn't get it, or
some people didn't.
But that happens with a lot of movies. But I can see this. This is one of those movies when I first saw the thing pop up, and I was like, at first I'm like, I don't know what this is. I'm not watching this, and I had forgot about the shorts because they're a few years old.
Yeah, it's a couple of years ago.
And then I was like, I'm gonna rewatch this because I kept getting blasted by it. And I saw one of the images. I'm like, this looks more familiar than, I started thinking instead of just disregarding it. And I watched the trailer and I'm like, oh, I know this now. So I remember bringing it to show
me.
And you're like, what is this? And I'm like, just watch it.
Yeah, and I went and watched all the shorts. Oh my God.
Watched them.
This is the cutest thing ever.
So I sadly had to bail on the screening, so she went on her own.
Oh my gosh. I laughed. I cried. I had nachos. It was amazing. I got stickers.
Yeah, we forgot to bring them in here.
It's okay.
You got like little stickers.
They're little shell stickers you can stick around because he would be climbing around your screen. He's like this cute little shell. Oh, and it's stop motion animation, which I didn't realize.
Did you think it was really a shell that was talking?
I thought it was like a little shell that they animated a little mouth on. Mm-hmm. They
animated the whole thing.
They made the whole shell out of clay and the whole thing. They like did the whole little thing and filmed it over like who knows how long.
Probably a couple of years.
Yeah, during pandemic time. But what else were they going to do? So they had time to do this. But it's interesting how it seamlessly works with the real world because they are in the human world. There are human people in it at times.
Right.
So it seamlessly just kind of interacts with it. And I was like, man, this is amazing. I thought it was the coolest thing. I didn't realize that.
You think it will get a franchise?
No.
You don't think we'll get just different Marcel adventures?
Maybe now if he ventures outside of his little house. But you guys, it is a tearjerker.
This is the kind of movie that, like I said, I haven't seen it, but this is the kind of movie that we always talk about.
Yes.
If you want to see something different, you're tired of remakes and sequels, reboots, and whatever else, this is the kind of movie you need to be supporting. It's a lower budget film. It's indie filmmakers. It's going to get smaller releases, and these are the things you need to support. These are the kind of things that not enough get made because everybody that complains about I'm tired of them remaking this and watching this and doing this are the same people that are not going to watch movies like this because they don't want that. They want the stuff they complain about.
No, but this is cute, and it is, in my mind, it's safe for the whole family.
I was fixing to ask you that because I know some of the stuff they deal with is adult themed, but is it?
And there's some adult jokes, but I don't think kids will understand why it's like as funny as it was. Because there's one part where they talk about something, how he makes something, and he uses this one material, and the guy starts cracking, and you start cracking up, and he's like, "Why? What? Why is that funny?" Because he's just so sweet and innocent. He doesn't get it. And there's another character which I told you about. Kind of walking around like ill, but if you're a kid, you're not going to get it. So,
all right, I got you.
It's fine. I think it's fine for everyone. It does deal with adult themes, but in a very open and kind of innocent and I don't know, like just in a child way, like where you explain something to a kid so that they can get it, and you're like, oh, okay, but. It's us who has the problem sometimes with things like.
Well, that's most things.
If you explain to a child like how a cat dies or dog dies,
well,
we're the ones that have the issues.
It's the adult issues. Like
Correct.
The same thing with things that are in that adults find inappropriate in a cartoon. Most kids don't even get that joke. Like they were. If you go back and watch all our cartoons, we've talked about this. From our time period, there's so many things that are technically inappropriate. They're offensive. They're violent.
No,
The majority of the kids, probably 98% of us, we just laughed at the joke and we moved on. It was our parents that were upset about it. Not our parents back then, but it was the people now that they see it and go, oh, my kid's going to be affected. Now, your kid's affected because of the way you're behaving
because
about
you told
it.
them to be.
Now they're seeing that it's an issue and they're like, oh, I want to see that because you said I shouldn't see that. Whereas before, they wouldn't have even noticed it and moved on.
Yeah.
This goes back to the Lightyear kiss. Most kids would have never noticed it, but they made a big deal about it.
I mean, I was just like, I didn't even know there was an issue until you told me there was an issue. I'm like, really?
Well, yeah, because it's
like
such
this.
a non-thing. So it's
Move
like,
on.
Anyway.
Oh, well.
It's another case of parents are stupid.
Check out Marcel the Shell with shoes on. It is a shell with shoes on.
I know for a fact they showed it at some AMC theaters and at Alamo Drafthouse Theater. So if you have either one of those near you, look and find it.
Yeah.
If not, I'm sure it won't be too long before it'll hit in some digital, which I'm hoping to be able to catch it.
I hope so. I'm so excited. We got to watch all the shorts and then that.
Is that what we're going to do?
Yeah. It's not going to take very long.
All right.
Anyways, that's all. Next.
All right. So lastly is one of the big new releases for this week, which was moderately big. It didn't open very big, but I don't even think it was in the top 5.
Oh, goodness.
There's a movie called Paws of Fury, The Legend of Hank. It's a new animated feature martial arts movie that, believe it or not, is actually an animated, family-friendly remake of Blazing Saddles. And if you don't know what Blazing Saddles are, first of all, I'm sad for you.
Shame on you.
Secondly, it's a movie that will never get made today. And thirdly, it's one of the funniest comedies ever made. Mel Brooks made it. It's a Western spoof parody dealing with racism and all kinds of things. It's a highly offensive movie, depending on how you look at it. But it's actually not, because it's pointing out the ridiculous nature of racism and a lot of different stuff if you can see what it is. But most people have the blinders and they're only going to see, oh, that's offending me, instead of seeing that that's the point. Anyway, obviously, this being an animated feature for kids, this is not like Sausage Party. This is, in fact, for the kids. It is not, doesn't have any of the horrible jokes and that stuff. But what they've done is the movie was originally called Blazing Samurai. And Mel Brooks is one of the characters' voices in the movie. He contributed to the story.
That's cool.
So there are elements. I remember when I saw it, I didn't realize it was a remake. But I'm like, man, there's a lot of Blazing Saddles references in this, because there's like a fake town and these different jokes. And then I heard Mel Brooks do the voice, and I'm like, oh, I wonder if they did that because Mel Brooks was doing a voice in this. And then in the movie, it says story by this list of people with Mel Brooks. I'm like,
there you
oh,
go.
okay, so he must have added some jokes. Then later, as I'm doing the review, I realized, oh, this was literally a remake.
For real, a remake. That's cool.
It's silly. It's not so close to a remake that you would even notice it unless you're a hardcore fan. And then there's Samuel Jackson does one of the voices, so there's a lot of Star Wars references. They even do a reference in one of the trailers that we all know Samuel Jackson is known for cussing a lot, and he does. His character has this cussing moment, but it's mother chicken cow, whatever, and it's kind of playing up on his thing without being nasty. It's funny. Some of the kids would probably get the fact that he's cussing. Other ones would just be funny because he's just saying nonsense.
Yes,
it's hilarious. But the story follows this. I don't know if it's an island or how we're supposed to look at it, or it's just this country of cats. There's only cats there. Okay, so it's not a world where we're looking at cats and dogs and cows and all these people mingling together like a lot of time in this situation. These are just cats, and they're in an area where no dogs are allowed. They don't like dogs, and this one dog has come into their area. This dog wants to be a samurai, and here the cats are. It's basically like a Japanese village, and there's this guy who's building this temple, who's the villain essentially. He's building this temple, and the shogun is coming, and he wants to be the best thing so he can eventually take over the shogun. Mel Brooks is the main shogun. Ricky Gervais is the main villain character. George Takei plays the henchman to the main villain, who you would normally expect him to be somebody like the shogun, whatever, but he plays kind of the dumb buffoon thing, which was fun to hear him voice a character like that.
That's fun.
Michael Cera is the dog, and Samuel Jackson is his master, whatever you want to. So anyway, so they're trying to. This town is in the way. So it's the same idea of Harvey Korman's character in Blazing Saddles wanting to get rid of this town.
Right.
It's all that same story element.
It's the exact same story.
Yeah, and so they run the samurai off, and so they decide to send the dog in as the new samurai in the town, knowing this town says no dogs allowed, thinking they'll beat the dog up and kill him or whatever, and they'll be done with it, and then he can turn on him and say, hey, but it ended up thing. So anyway, a lot of martial arts stuff ensues and silliness and craziness, and um, it actually also sports two different types of animation. It has the main animation, which you see in the poster.
Yeah.
Um,
It's kind of fuzzy and cute.
and I was a little concerned looking at this animation at first in the trailer because it didn't look. I don't want to say the word is not cheap, but when you compare it to, it has a little bit of a Kung Fu Panda vibe to it as well. But when you look at movies
he
like
looks
that,
fuzzy. Like
he is kind of like what is that? Like a peach kind of
Yes,
fuzzy,
yes.
like those posters you used to get.
yes.
What is it? What is that called?
I don't
Felt.
know. The felt,
Like
yeah.
felt.
It doesn't look crisp.
Yeah,
It looks more
and so it had a
felty
little.
feeling.
It looks more like a TV series
Mhm.
type animation or something you might see on Netflix, as opposed to what you see in the big theatrical things. I was like, is this going to work? It ends up looking really good on screen. But during the flashback sequence, when he's telling his story, or the main samurai is telling his story, it shifts the focus of the animation, and it actually looks not exactly, but almost like they mix traditional animation with like Into the Spider-Verse animation.
Oh,
That weird,
okay, yeah, that
shaky,
weird
and
thing. Yeah,
blurry.
yeah.
So it gave a good context of being different when you're watching things.
That's probably what it
And it
was.
surprisingly worked,
What do
but
you have on your face now? Or is that your?
it's a hair sticking up.
Oh,
It's
goodness.
annoying me. It's grabbing my nose. My nostril.
Goodness gracious, you have some issues.
There's not
there.
a lot of over the top character designs. Good job. But they're all fun. The characters work. I love the movie. I thought it was
I think
fun.
it looks really cute.
I know I've read a few reviews what they were talking about. It's dull. Nothing really happens, and I can see that because it's not overly exciting. It's not anything you haven't seen before, but it's also Blazing Saddles, but it's toned down. And so, does it lose some of the magic Blazing Saddles has for what it is? Of course it does. But there's a lot of adult jokes that the kids will still laugh at, but they won't know why they're laughing.
Why? Yeah.
It just sounds funny or looks funny. The adults be like, that's that, or this. Is it one of the best animated films? No. It's kind of it probably falls in the middle line of being entertaining, fun to watch, but not being anything that's
Groundbreaking.
It's kind of right there in the middle, which it's kind of sad that it didn't even make into the top films this weekend. So it's kind of what was they said? I think what was the last animated film that came out? It wasn't enough to beat that. Oh, Minions.
Minions.
It's still fighting against Minions. So Thor was still number one.
Thor's
I think
out there right now.
Minions number 2 or whatever. So anyway, but Paws of Fury, it's a fun movie for the whole family.
I think it looks super
If
cute.
you've seen Blazing Saddles, it makes it a little more fun for the inside joke element. But it is what it is. I also had the fun joy of doing some PR for this film because they know we do martial arts classes. So they hit me up. And for any of my martial arts friends out there that actually helped out, I had a bunch of schools that were taking photos with posters and giving out swag to their students to help promote the film. The studio was like taking all those, and so they were really happy about that, and it was fun to get out there and give them stuff. So we promoted the movie and just, I don't know, it is what it is. So get a chance, check out Paws of Fury, The Legend of Hank. Just go for a good time, watch it for what it is. If you don't want to watch it, then don't. It's your business, but you're missing out on some funness.
I think it looks super fun. I wish
there's even a moment where he started to train and fight. He goes, "Oh no, is this gonna be a montage?"
We need a montage.
So
I would have been doing that.
Anyway, I had a good time.
Okay, well,
it's in theaters now.
Check it.
That's pretty much it.
All right,
like I said, it was a short day.
Yeah, it's a short show.
So this week, coming in relation to the Blu-ray and stuff releases, it's actually kind of light as well. The Bob's Burgers movie is coming out to Blu-ray. It's already on digital.
It's online, yeah.
Yeah, it's already on a lot of platforms. When they dropped it on digital, I think it's on HBO Max. I think it's on Hulu. I thought I saw it somewhere else.
I know for sure it's on Hulu.
Yeah, it's on Hulu. It's on HBO Max, and then I don't know. Anyway, but those I think they're part of your service. You don't have to pay for it extra. But it's actually getting the Blu-ray release this week. Yellow Jacket Season 1. I don't know what that is. I know of it, but I don't know it. Legends of Tomorrow, the 7th and final season, is getting its Blu-ray treatment. I'm in the process of making my way through that because I haven't watched it in a while. The movie Duel with Karen Gillan and Aaron Paul. We'll be talking about that next week. It's getting the Blu-ray treatment. And another one that we're going to talk about on the Blu-ray release next week, which is a movie she loves, that we're going to rewatch. They're putting out a new Blu-ray still anniversary edition of Good Burger.
Welcome to Good Burger, home of the Good Burger. May I take your order?
We've both seen it, but we're going to watch the new release of it, and then we'll talk about it next week.
I'm so excited.
But it's like I don't think it's 4K. I think it's Blu-ray, but it's like a 30th anniversary or 25th anniversary.
Wow, how old am I?
That's how old you is. Well, Keenan from the Good Burger movie has been playing
true.
a dad on TV now, so
that's how long it's
been. Anyway,
been.
that's pretty much what's happened on most of the Blu-ray. There's a few other ones that are Men in Black and JFK Revisited and all this kind of stuff that are coming out on Blu-ray and 4K.
Okay, cool. All right, so coming out this week at the theater. On Tuesday, on Video Demand and Digital, there is a movie called Facing Nolan. It is about Nolan Ryan.
Oh, was it about the guy in the fight?
No, this is Nolan Ryan and his amazing feats in the game.
Feats don't film in it? Oh, I'm sorry. There's one other Blu-ray DVD coming out this week. It's the new Reno 911 movie. The Reno 911, they hunt for QAnon, which was exclusive on Paramount Plus. It was really fun. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Basically, it's a little documentary where they look at Nolan Ryan's numbers and statistics, and they do a deep dive into that because they're like the numbers themselves tell a story. Yeah. So it's interesting. It's
funny you said that. Somebody shared a meme thing earlier. Robin, whoever the one he got in the fight with, remember the famous headlock punches to the face thing? It said the only person ever gets 6 hits on Nolan Ryan, and he got him to the face or something like that.
Wow. Well, it's interesting because one of the premises of this documentary or special is someone's like, if you look just strictly at numbers, he's not the greatest of all time.
No, not at all.
But why do people think like, oh, Nolan Ryan? You know, it's a thing. So they're doing a deep dive into that. So I think if you're really a fan,
that's actually happened a lot of times
for
people that they get classified as some of the greatest of all time, and it's because of certain things they did in their career or
like
their
one moment,
or not everybody's Muhammad Ali or Michael Jordan, but they had big downfall stuff too that people tend to step away from because they are so big in the industry.
Yeah, so it's interesting for sure if you're into the sports.
Yeah.
Coming out Thursday. Oh, is this already coming to video online?
Yeah,
okay.
Keep turning it down.
Video Demand and Digital. It was at the theater. I guess it's coming out now. Mr. Malcolm's List, based on the novel of the same name. It is a period piece where they try basically pull a fast one on a guy. She's like, I'm going to be the perfect wife, and then I'm going to dump him.
Apparently he has like a list of women or a list of things he wants or
and
something.
A woman.
It's a toxic masculinity movie in a period piece.
I guess. And then, of course, she actually falls in love with him. So there you go.
It was one I definitely did not want to watch.
This will be interesting because I don't know as much about these people that as I would like to. Coming to HBO Max, it's a documentary called The Last Movie Stars, and it's about the life of Paul Newman and Joanne Woodward. So I think it would be interesting. It's actually directed by Ethan Hawke. So that's going to be interesting.
And he has a very deep love for film. Like I was watching a story or an interview with him one time, and it might have been during the Moon Knight phase when he did that show, and they were talking to him about Martin Scorsese, who had come out and said that at one point that he didn't believe like the Marvel Cinematic Universe were real films because of the context, whatever. But Ethan Hawke is like, but it's art. He goes, and then there's this thing about making a film or doing a thing. He goes, it's about putting your art out there, whatever your art is. And he starts going into this whole thing about the importance of the art and the importance of what you're doing and why he has taken so many weird, eclectic, and mainstream parts. Is about because it was about whatever he could express with that part. And you start hearing it's not just a dumb actor. It's somebody that's really thought out every part he's done, whether it was Gattaca or whether it was, Gattaca. Training Day or something.
Correct. There was something attractive.
Or those random movies that you're like, why would you have done this movie?
Sounds like very Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, Nicolas Cage is one of those that he loves film.
He's a movie-y. I wouldn't say like a foodie, but he's a movie-y person.
Yeah, and the same thing is Nicolas Cage said in an interview I mentioned on here was, he had a long string of years and years and years and years and years and years of coming off of being a major box office draw, Academy Award winner, to the straight-to-video guy that got bashed and different hairdos and whatever, and he's had this resurgence with movies like Pig and Mandy and And then the last one, the
Unbearable weight
unbearable weight of massive
massive
talent.
talent.
And he had said that he knew a lot of the movies he did were trash, that they sucked. He said the only thing that ever bothered him about bad reviews is sometimes they would say they thought he phoned it in. And he's like, I gave my all in every role I took. And he goes, and because it was about he says, I'm not a star. It's my job.
That's it. He's
He
an
goes,
actor.
I go to work.
That is his job.
I act. I love to act. I'm performing. And then I go home. He goes, I'm not trying to be famous. It's my job.
Yeah. So I'm really interested knowing that about Ethan Hawke to see this in his style in a documentary, because these people, this is old Hollywood. If we're likened to Paul Newman and Joan Woodward, I mean this is like old foundation of Hollywood and actors, and the time period they were in of what it was to suddenly be like this big star, because back then that was different than what it is now. There was like there was now it's like
there was a small group of these are famous people. Oh like my god, they're
here,
way bigger than us.
You don't touch them.
Now you can run into them at McDonald's.
Well, no, and now everybody feels that they have the right to trash you because they see you on the internet.
Yeah.
And it's just this whole thing.
Like nowadays, you don't get surprised to see a scandal from a famous person. Back then, it was
very scandalized right now.
Back then, it was like, oh my goodness, we held them such a higher standard. It was like the idea of airplanes, because back then you get on an airplane, you wore a suit,
you
dressed up.
Oh my gosh, how cute is that?
That was class. If you could afford to be on an airplane. Now it barely can't get people put clothes on to get on an airplane.
Oh Lord. Okay, then Friday is going to be the big day. Let me go this way so we have more. Coming out to Prime Video, there's something called Anything's Possible. It's a Gen Z coming of age story. So we are probably not the prime audience of this, but let's just go. It's what it is. Anything's possible. Drama, romance, coming of age, but for Gen Z. How old are we that now we're in like the third generation of things? Coming to Netflix. This is interesting. This is the new Ryan Gosling CIA mercenary movie called The Gray Man.
Yes, I'm excited.
That is his undercover agent name.
It looks super violent.
Yeah, coming to Netflix. I'm excited for that.
Him and Chris Evans.
Anna de Armas.
Anna de Armas, I'm excited for.
So Alfre Woodard, I love her. Ryan Gosling. Billy Bob Thornton, haven't seen him in a while. So it's going to be interesting. And then the big one of the week, you need to go to the theater and support the movie Nope. Because I'm like, nope.
No, that's the name of the movie. She didn't say don't go.
Nope. N-O-P-E.
She's not saying she's not going to go support it.
I am going to go see Nope. Anyways, this is the new movie from Jordan Peele. And it stars Daniel Kaluuya. Hopefully I say that right.
Most people know from Black Panther, but also Get Out.
Get Out, Judas and the Black Messiah, which is great. And then Keke Palmer, which love her. And Stephen Oscar nominee Stephen Yeun from Minari, and from the zombie show. Yeah. So as you see, crazy things are happening in the ranch out in California. And so we're going to see what happens. So
the trailer makes it look like it could be alien something. It could be a horror element. It could be a lot of different things. I haven't seen something. I know you were complaining. You think the trailer showed too much.
Don't show me
but I think
much.
Back to the movies, Us. I think movies Get Out. And I think it showed a lot of stuff too. And the story was completely not what you expect.
I want to go watch this.
I think Jordan Peele has a very specific reason for showing some of the stuff.
For doing what he does.
To kind of throw you off the roll.
I hope
you never know though, because sometimes they don't have control of their trailers anymore.
Correct.
And the studio says,
this is what we're doing.
And they show too much. We all know that. So usually I've been recommending to people that really care about that to follow your rule is you maybe watch one trailer
and I don't watch any. And when anything, I sometimes at the theater, I'm like this. Because it's like, I don't even want to see it.
Yeah.
I want to be surprised at the movie.
Well, I feel bad for filmmakers because there's moments in movies you watch. It's very obvious that moment was supposed to be a surprise. That moment was supposed to be a reveal. And it's something you've already seen in the trailer. But again, that goes back to the audience being at fault. Is the audience refusing to go see something unless they know that what they want is there. More importantly, into stuff like the Marvel stuff, saying, hey, we want Spider-Man here. Well, I think Spider-Man's being this. He's not going to be in this. If he's not in, he better be in it.
Yeah.
And so you get pressured into saying, okay, let's show them they're going to be in there so they're not upset. Because that happened with the Multiverse of Madness Doctor Strange movie is people had already
I was
fan
so
casted
upset.
who the Illuminati and who the people were they wanted.
So upset.
And some of it they didn't mind showing. They did on purpose as a little tease to the audience. But a lot of people were upset, not about the spoiling part. A lot of people were mad because they didn't get what they wanted.
Who they wanted.
You're like, well, that sucks. That's not who I wanted. They wasted that time. But they don't think about the logistics of doing stuff. They don't think about how this would even work or make sense. It's like, you can't please anyone or everyone ever.
Yeah, and then like you said, sometimes they're forced to market some things to get your butt in the seat. But then it becomes that whole thing, like Arnold was upset at that last Terminator movie because he's like, why are you showing this? You're not supposed to show this. Yeah. So
but
I get both
that
sides.
Case, the previous Terminator movie didn't do very well. So they're trying to say, look, we're going back to the basics,
I know.
But there's sometimes, like especially with Marvel, sometimes it's the forgetting that a big chunk of your audience, probably more so than the real fans, have never read the book. So things to us, like we're the perfect divide.
We are.
You've never read it, and I've read most of it.
I do read comics. I just don't read that.
So the perfect divide of Civil War is a prime example.
Yes.
Is when Winter Soldier came in, I already knew who Winter Soldier was.
I was so surprised.
Yeah, and so I purposely kept her away from posters because they put out the Winter Soldier posters and it said Sebastian Stan. But if you knew who Sebastian Stan, I know.
Yeah.
But if you happen to remember who that was, you would remember he was from Captain America and that he was his friend, Bucky. And
I was so shocked in the movie. I was like, oh.
Yeah, she would ask me about the Winter Soldiers. What is this character? I said, I'm not telling you. She was getting frustrated because I wouldn't tell her anything about the Winter Soldier.
I'm glad you did.
I actually wouldn't let her watch trailers for it. I said, do not watch any more trailers. Do not look at the posters.
Which is so good.
And then she got mad. Why are they showing it? I'm like, because we already know it's not a surprise to us. But the random audience, and I think that's where a lot of this has been forgotten, is somebody that's watching a Marvel movie. Like I didn't ever think about it really much until the last year or so, because I got in a couple of arguments with people about being Marvel fans, and they're like this and this, and they did this wrong, and I have my opinion, and I'm not discounting anybody's views, right? If you hate a movie, you hate a movie. If you don't like what they did. I know there's this massive divide with Thor: Love and Thunder. Mm-hmm. A lot of people hated the movie. A lot of people loved the movie. A lot of people right down the middle, like, it's all right. And I see all sides of that. But I never really sat and thought about the fact that some of these people that I've seen that are massive fans, I'm talking wearing the gear, collecting the statues and the stuff, that their entire fandom is based on just the movie. And when I ask them a question, I'm like, how could you be okay with this? They changed the entire story. I'm in the midst of an argument with this guy. It actually was a DC argument that shifted into a Marvel thing. And I'm like, well, you're calling yourself this fan. I'm like, but they stole this. This is exactly what they did in the comic, this and this. And he's like, well, I don't read the DC stuff. I'm Marvel all the way. And I'm like, well, that half the Marvel changed this thing. Because, well, I don't read the comics either. And then I'm like, this explains your entire argument. It's a different perspective of your argument because you don't know the basis and why it's wrong. So you're having to base it why it's wrong for you in this context. That's where most of the divide starts happening, where a lot of the arguments happen. It's same thing in Star Wars. There's the difference of stuff you didn't want to happen happened. Then there's the novels and there's the comics and there's the cartoons and there's all these things. How did this character come back? It makes no sense.
Well, if you watched the 3 seasons of the cartoons,
it was only explained. Yeah, like when Darth Maul showed up in Solo and everybody's like, he got killed. That makes no sense. We're like, all of us knew. We were surprised he was in the movie, but we weren't surprised of his existence.
No, because we know the sisters killed him. Yeah. I was there. I watched it.
But then you have all these people that refuse to watch any of this stuff, and they get mad. Like, I think I told you that somebody wrote a review for Thor: Love and Thunder, and they complained about that this movie clearly was alienating half their audience because they expected you to have seen the other movies. I'm like, it's part 4. Yes. It's not episodic TV where each episode's its own thing.
But even the episodic TV in a season, there's normally a running
arc.
theme.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, some of those TV shows you can jump into, like, every episode is its own thing, and some of it has more episodic arcs that's an ongoing story. But, like Star Trek used to be that way. Every episode was its own story. But
that season, they were trying to figure out
one thing. Just didn't know the characters. So if you went in there and learned the characters in one episode, you could dive in.
Which, by the way, this last season of Picard was amazing.
It's called Pickard.
Pickard. It was amazing, and I thought I was gonna hate it because of the one character that we had throughout the season, and I loved it, and it
I haven't watched
all
it yet.
made perfect sense. Oh my gosh! Anyway,
Let me just
sorry.
tell you, this last season of The Flash is trash. It's starting to run.
You've been saying it's trash for
I
like
know,
a
and
couple
I,
of seasons now.
unlike a lot
You're
of people,
sticking with
when
it.
I'm this invested in these CW shows, I try to stick with them until the end. I'm telling you, Supergirl was painful to finish. Black Lightning was painful to finish. The Flash started last season. I mean, it's had its ups and downs. Don't get me wrong. I recognize that. The last two seasons have just been, but I thought it was going to end, and they picked up for another season. I was like,
Oh wow!
What's the other one? Legends of Tomorrow has now ended, so I'm watching the final season of it, and it's struggling to keep me. They used to be such a fun show, and now it's just like, I'm like, kill me now. Superman and Lois is really good. Stargirl's really good. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, that's it.
All right then. Okay, so tell me your heat wave movie of the week.
Yeah, last week we did a little fun thing because it's been in the hundreds here for the last 2 weeks or so. Although we did have a quick rain one day, everybody was like praising the Lord like it hadn't rained in decades.
Well, it got down to the 80s that day.
Yeah,
that cool front.
And then it quit raining and everything burned up again. But so last week we picked the heat wave movie without talking to each other about it. We ended up both picking a movie from the same franchise. So I'd put it back up.
Okay,
I picked Predator 2 because that movie takes place during a heat wave. You picked Predator 1 because it took place in the rainforest and they were sweaty.
And everybody's sweaty.
So I forgot we were doing this again this week until right before the show, but I already had my movie.
Okay.
So I'm picking the movie, the Spike Lee movie, Do the Right Thing.
Oh, they gotta find it.
It takes place during a heat wave.
Okay.
And it's a classic movie. If you've never seen Do the Right Thing, it's such a great movie. It deals with race and relationships and different cultures kind of coexisting with the black people, and the Italian people, and the Jews, and this and people fighting, and it's all a mist of temperatures rising because of the temperatures rising. So Do the Right Thing was my heat wave movie.
I'm going to post the link there. My movie this week was A Time to Kill with Matthew McConaughey.
Everybody's sweaty in that movie.
And it's during a heat wave in the bayou.
I thought about this movie because everybody in this movie is like old Southern with their tissues.
Yes.
All the time.
Oh my God. And they're in the court. So this is an interesting movie. It's a courtroom case. It's a very dramatic courtroom case.
This is the movie that essentially made Matthew McConaughey a star.
Correct. Because Samuel L. Jackson is accused of murdering, well, more than that, of raping, I think, and murdering a white girl.
Yeah.
And 2 white men accuse this black man. And so Matthew McConaughey and Sandra Bullock are the legal team there to defend him, and so much like just hate and violence and all this happens because of the race of the people in the case, and
everybody sweats a lot,
and everybody's sweating because we're in the bayou and it's a heat wave.
Yeah.
Woo! That is a great movie.
So
we should go watch that again.
That we can figure out weird reasons to watch a movie.
Give us any theme. We'll find out. There's much more. I looked at movies in a heat wave.
There's a lot of them.
There's tons of them, and I didn't even realize. So we'll keep it going.
Yeah, so we'll probably finish out until the heat wave ends here. We'll probably keep a heat wave story going. Here.
All right.
So, and we're in Texas, so this might be going for a while.
Tons of time for us.
It might be Christmas, and we're still on a heat wave.
It'll still be in the hundreds.
All right.
All right, baby. Tell me about the contests.
I think we have a new one in there this week.
We do. I'm surprised about this. Let me make it big.
I was gonna have you share it last, but okay, since it's already up
there. Oh, sorry.
It's okay. It was where it is. So the added one I have this week is for Downton Abbey: A New Era, the latest film that came out. I think it kind of came and went kind of quietly, but it was because of all the pandemic stuff. I don't think as many people are doing the theaters. But this contest is a little bit different than our previous contest. Normally, our contest we offer just one Blu-ray or DVD. This case, we are offering a Blu-ray and DVD, but that's the runner-up.
Oh.
We have 2 different contests happening.
Oh, wow.
If you go to the actual page on our website at
HollywoodMatrimony.com,
we're giving away the collector's edition that includes a collectible book, postcards, and a tea strainer.
What?
Like a whole set.
Oh, I see that there.
So it's like a whole set. One person will get, and then somebody else will just get the Blu-ray itself.
Oh, wow. That is a cool gift pack. Go to the website. You'll see it.
Go to the website. It's basically what you have to do in this particular case is I always ask you like a question, a trivia question, or an opinion question. So in this one, it's basically just tell you who your favorite Downton character is and why. and then we'll randomly choose the winner. Just please, please, please don't post the answer on the link on Twitter or the Facebook. Send us the email. All of them go into another thing. I still get people that go on Twitter and they comment with their answer, and I'm like, I don't see them until the contest is over because it doesn't flag me or it gets lost in the shuffle. Please send the email with your answers. The reason I do questions like this is because I like to see what people's thoughts are about characters and movies and things like this. And sometimes it might open my eye to make me revisit something. Like, I've never watched any of the Downton Abbey stuff. I don't understand its appeal, but I recognize that it's a big thing and people love it, right? But I didn't know Dan Stevens came from that, until I'd interviewed him for the guest. And everybody's making a big deal back then about me interviewing him. I'm like, I don't know who this guy is. He was on Downton Abbey. I'm like, I still don't know who,
Yeah.
But I know this is a big thing, and the people that are into it. So I'm all for helping give people out stuff to it. So go to the website, enter the contest. You got 2 chances to win. If you don't win one, you might win the other.
There you go.
All right. That's not all, though, kids. We also still have copies of Edge of Tomorrow on 4K. Next few that I'm going to tell you, I have 1 copy left. I've been shipping some out. I got 1 copy left of the Aquaman King of Atlantis. They're all flipped out of order from what I'm looking on my screen. So
That's
I don't
okay. Sorry.
The DVDs, Aquaman King of Atlantis, the animated show, the Friday the 13th Part 3 Anniversary Edition Steelbook.
Is it 3D?
It is not.
Oh.
I'd have to look.
I feel like that poster looks like the 3D poster.
Hold on, let me look. See if
Where was
there's
I? Whoosh.
Well, when you
Back in the day, guys, 3D was so fun.
Fresh Coast 3D Terror. I don't think it offers a 3D version.
Remember when movies used to come out and it would give you the 3D glasses?
Yeah. That's why I went back to look, because it says, this Steelbook contains the 2D version remastered in the 2020 original film elements. So,
because it was 3D in the original, right?
Yeah, when it came
that's
out,
what that poster is, where it's like this.
Well, when you watch the movie too, there's moments like that where somebody will hand them like a drink and be like, "Here." So and it comes right at the screen at you, and it's funny that anytime you watch anything that was supposed to be in 3D and it's not.
Fun.
It's funny.
Okay.
And then also we still have a copy of the Secrets of Dumbledore, Fantastic Beasts on Blu-ray. I'm not going to be rude about it today. One of those available, and then the anniversary 4K edition of Raiders of the Lost Ark.
There you go.
So get your contest in now. Your entries in now. Excuse me, I already put the contest in. We have a couple one now. Somebody actually messaged me and asked me. I thought there was going to be a contest for a couple of other things that I mentioned. They're not up. There is. I do have copies of the Ray Donovan movie that I'm still going to post. I also still have a copy of Lucifer, but I'm holding the Lucifer copy for a specific reason.
Okay.
I'm working on something else to make it more of a bundle.
Oh,
so if it works out, that will go up. If it doesn't work out, then I'll throw that one up there. And same thing, I think I got a copy of Curb Your Enthusiasm that we'll throw up there too. So those will probably start going up this week, one way or another.
All right. Well, thank you so much for watching this week's episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live. Please remember to find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Don't forget to visit our website, hollywoodmatrimony.com, and make sure you click that contest button for all the free stuff.
That's right. And join us next week for an all-new episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live, where we'll discuss other things.
Okay. Probably some movies.
While being sweaty.
There you go. All right. See you later, alligators.